Alright, hi everybody, it's Lolly. Let me just double check that I've got everything working since this is only my second stream. Alrighty, it looks like we are good, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. So we're going to do something a little different today. My sister-in-law has recently started streaming on Twitch. She plays games. I think she was doing Horizon Zero Dawn Tuesdays and Fridays, and then in October she's going to start streaming World of Warcraft on Sundays as well. If you want to go give her a watch on Twitch, it's Ginger Viking 95, I believe. You can tell her Lolly sent you, she'll know who I am. But anyways, she has recently got to the point in her Twitch account where she can have emotes. So she asked if she could pay me to do some for her. So that's what I'm going to work on today. So two of the emotes are just like her in little costumes or things, and one of them is her dog, because everybody loves her dog. And this is my first time doing Twitch emotes, so hopefully everything goes okay. I did like research the sizes and everything beforehand, so hopefully I didn't make any mistakes in that area. We'll see how it goes. I also normally don't draw this tiny, so this is very strange. Ooh, I hope this shows up okay. It looks so pixely. Is it? I hope it's normal for it to look that pixely when it's small. I'm sure once I zoom out it'll be fine. It just is hard to tell whether my lines look good or not when it's this pixely. So I'll probably have to do some zooming in and out fairly frequently, so I apologize for that if any of you get like motion sickness from zooming or whatever. Also, like normal, this is just going to be super casual. So my lovely housemates do know I'm streaming, and they probably won't bother me, but my husband may come into the room today and join in on some of the conversation. So just a heads up about that. Didn't know how many people I was going to get on the stream today, so I did kind of think about some stuff to talk about just in case I end up being here all on my lonesome for today. And I will try and remember to check the comment section kind of regularly just to see if anybody's saying anything. Because unfortunately I don't have like a dual screen situation, so I can't see them at the same time. Kind of jealous. My sister, just for her streaming setup, just got 2 monitors so she can like play the game on the one monitor and see the chat on the other monitor. If I end up doing this enough one day, maybe I'll do that. Or maybe, I wonder if there's a way I can like pull up the stream on my phone and look at it, but I don't know how I would do that because my phone is hooked up to my like casual YouTube that's just for me to like watch videos and stuff and not post things. So it might be like, no, you're already logged in on a different YouTube. Although I suppose I could, because I watch myself on my other account just so I can keep an eye on things, maybe I could like watch the stream as if I was a viewer, and that way I can see if comments are coming in. Yeah, actually, if you'll all allow me, if there's even anybody here, just give me 1 second to see if that works. Because I don't want to be ignoring anybody, and it's nice to know whether or not I'm just sitting here talking to myself or not. Alright, I have found my account, and oh, I'm streaming, look at that. Alright, so it looks like I can keep an eye on the comments here, so we'll do that. I hope everybody's week has been going as good as it can be. Mine went pretty well. I hit a bit of a funk mentally this week, which I'm sure is pretty common right now. Um, just having trouble with like managing expectations in terms of like I'm not quite where I would like to be right now in my life because I'm currently going through immigration right now, and so both the expense and the time of that has had to put a lot of things on hold for myself and my husband. And obviously, while I'm happy that others in my life are getting things they want, it can be hard when I desperately want those things as well, but can't have them right now. Doesn't diminish my happiness for them at all. Of course, I'm extremely happy when my loved ones are happy and doing well and succeeding and all of that, but um, it's just tough. But, I always see stuff that's like, you want to be living in a certain place or doing a certain thing by a certain age, and often those are just like societal standards and they don't actually like bear any weight in terms of how successful you are by a certain age in your life, because everybody's born into different circumstances with different advantages or disadvantages, and then the gap between those things can grow and widen for people, or shift as you go through life. So it's not really fair to compare yourself to others, and it's not necessarily that I'm comparing myself to anyone, it's just that if my circumstances were a little different, maybe I would also have those things already. But it's okay, because at the end of the day, going through this immigration is the thing that I wanted most in the world, because I just wanted to be able to live with my husband and to not have to keep spending so much time apart all the time, because that was really, really hard. So at the end of the day, that's what I wanted most, and if that delays me from getting other things I wanted in my life, those things will come in time. And I have achieved other things I wanted in my life. I wanted a university degree, and I graduated 2 years ago now from my university. And I wanted to graduate in 4 years, which I did, even though that was really hard. And yeah, I just, the biggest thing that was hard in my life back then, well, I should say one of the biggest things, was just the time that my husband and I would spend apart, because I'm from Canada and my husband is from the US, and we have known each other since we were quite young. And when we first wanted to meet, we decided to meet when I turned 18, before I started university. And then that ended up just not being possible because my mother was going with me, because obviously meeting a stranger and their family from the internet that you've never met in person before, even though you video chatted with them, like, it's still better to be safe than sorry. And so my mother was going to come with me just to make sure, that I was never unsafe. And also just because I think she genuinely wanted to meet this guy that I was kind of infatuated with. Because my mom and my siblings had heard me gushing about him for years at that point. So, my mom and also kind of me were unable to afford the trip when I was 18, which really sucked. So we ended up going when I was 19. And I think we went for a little under 2 weeks. Because again, my mom had to take time off to go from work, as well as we both had to save up for the plane tickets and money for a hotel while we were there. Because again, sorry, I have allergies. My husband's family would probably have let us stay with them. They're incredibly sweet, but just because we'd never met them before, maybe we wouldn't want to stay with them. And also my mom just really wanted her own space, so she insisted that we get a hotel. And Those are not cheap. But we finally got to meet when I was 19, and it was pretty amazing. I ended up, after a brief awkward period of being like, oh my god, you're here in person and this is super weird. Um, we ended up connecting just as well in person after that short awkward period as we had all the years before. So that was pretty amazing. We didn't have to miss each other anymore, and we got to do the whole like first time hugging in person thing, which when you are dating someone or even just friends with someone, honestly, this counts for friendship too. When you're emotionally close with someone and you've had a rough day, and it's like all you want is just to hang out with them, um, get a hug or something, and you can't do that, or you can't give that to them when they're having a hard time. It's really gut-wrenching. Like days when he would have a really bad day and I couldn't, do anything but talk. Not to say that talking to him was doing nothing, but I figured if I could hug him that would help, and I couldn't do that. So it really sucked. So getting to do all of that for the first time was really incredible, as well as the other amazing thing was I found out that I also loved his family. Like, I have amazing in-law family. I very much lucked out in that department. And I think the feeling's mutual. Well, I know it's mutual because they've told me as much. Um, so that was an unexpected bonus, was I'd always hoped that I would get along with my in-laws, really well, and I do. And at this point, because I've lived with, a few of them or all of them for various periods of time, they are as much family to me as the rest of my family is. So that's pretty great. Like, I live with my husband and my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law right now. And before we moved here, I also lived with both of my in-law parents. And not only are they amazing and do I fit in with them really well, but I couldn't be more grateful that they've helped us as much as they have through the immigration process in terms of letting us live with them for periods of time and things, because we would have really struggled and it would have placed a lot of burden on my husband if they hadn't done that. So I couldn't be more grateful to them. Also, I think I see that I've got someone else watching, so hello there. If we've met before, then hi. And if we haven't met before, then nice to meet you. I hope that the video is enjoyable to watch, even though it's just me rambling. Okay, so if we actually scale that down to how it's gonna look, that doesn't look nearly as pixely, so thank goodness. Also, the reason it's green is just so I can make sure the background stays transparent, because on Twitch, your emotes need to be uploaded transparent with transparent backgrounds. So the easiest way for me to make sure that it's transparent is to make it a color and then switch it off before I save, so that way I know for sure. Yeah, so anyways, after I met my husband, we ended up deciding that we did want to date, because another thing was that we kind of both agreed, and it was important to me, that we not start officially dating until we'd actually met in person and made sure we got along, because as much as I had faith that we would, and I was absolutely in love with him by that point, I also didn't want to run into a situation where, we said we were dating and exclusive with each other, and then, one of us got an offer to date someone that lived near us and turned it down because we were dating, and then it turned out that we didn't work out for some reason when we met, and then they'd missed that opportunity to potentially be with someone who liked them, who was, who lived closer and whatever. So, and he understood that, although I have a sneaking suspicion he probably would have dated me sooner if I'd wanted to, but I didn't want him, mostly him, to miss out on an opportunity like that, even though it would have killed me if he was, if I found out he was dating someone else. It would have been really, really hard, but also he was my friend first, and so if he was happy, I would have been happy. as much as I would have suffered. Um, and I also wanted to say I love you to him, wait to say I love you until we met in person, just because it felt like it was a really special and important thing to say. So we agreed to wait, and then he cheated and said it early when I'd fallen asleep on Skype one night, and I didn't know until years later. So how dare he? But yeah, so that's the story of how we met, and we knew we wanted to live together at some point, but we needed to figure out which country to immigrate to. And for many reasons, some of them personal, we decided that I would go this way and head to the US. One of those reasons being just that he already had a job here. Um, and I didn't have a job coming right out of university because I started my immigration here pretty much as soon as I finished university. Um, that was really the only thing we were waiting on. So the summer after university, we got married and then we started my immigration up this way. Um, and we probably would have gotten married sooner if we could have, but it just wasn't possible financially and just like timeline was wise because while I was in university, um, we only got to visit twice a year. So one of us would go one way in the summer and one of us would go one way in the winter break because obviously with a full course load, I couldn't just leave to go visit whenever I wanted, as well as when you're going to university full time, the amount of money you have and the time that you have is very limited. So I couldn't save up money to go multiple times a year either. Plane tickets are kind of expensive. So yeah, we got married after I graduated, which was very exciting. We had just a nice, super chill little park wedding because we're not the kind of people that like to make a big fuss out of things. You know, there were some really special elements to it, but at the end of the day, what was important was just that we were getting married so we could do immigration. And so that, he could be my husband and I could be his wife. So we just had it in a little park, didn't have to book the venue or anything, kind of just showed up there, which ended up being funny because there was construction that day. So when my family showed up early to like clean up the area a little bit, um, they ran in with some construction workers who were like, "Oh my gosh, you can't go this way with your vehicle." And they were like, "Please, my child is getting married here today." And they were like, "Oh, okay, well, we'll give you special permission then, basically." So that was very nice of them. And I think quite likely due to my dad as well. He's a very charismatic person. He's just super easy to talk to, really friendly. It's something I've always admired about him is he can make friends with like anyone, anywhere, at any time. So he probably just sweet talked them into it, which is fine with me because they ended up, the little like picnic area in the park that had like a little covered shelter where we just planned on eating our food and stuff for the reception. They'd gone ahead and like went above and beyond, him and my grandma, my sisters, to like bring like flower petals there and like tablecloths because we were like my husband and I were chiller about the whole situation that I think my family would have preferred. They're like, "What are you gonna eat on? You can't just eat on picnic tables." And we were like, "Yeah, we don't care." So they came down and sort of beautified the area and cleaned up a little bit, which was super sweet of them. And now, um, 2 years later, my husband and I are still going through immigration because of so many hiccups and so much paperwork and so much waiting time. Like usual, I forget why I started telling that story. Oh, because I was talking about expectations. Um, so I would have hoped, had I not had to immigrate at this point, that I would have had a job. Um, that's somewhat decent. I mean, I don't think I'd have my dream job yet, for sure. I think that's a bit unrealistic, but I would have a job that I would maybe kind of enjoy. And I would hope that I would be, maybe looking at buying a house in the next couple of years, me and my husband living alone, maybe having a pet of our own or something, and things just didn't work out that way. Um, because of immigration. And so, obviously watching my other friends and family members advancing onto some of those things can be a little hard. I get a little jealous, but again, super, super happy still for them, and I'm glad that they're succeeding and having a good time, and I only wish happiness for my loved ones and good things, so it's not like I'm angry or anything. But I just thought I'd bring it up because I'm sure it's something lots of people struggle with now, and in general is managing expectations. And the bottom line is I am actually very lucky, having a really incredible partner who I couldn't have asked for any better, and, a partner who has a job still in these times, is amazing. And, having some time off where I haven't had to work is for this long is, while I don't always like it because I'd rather contribute financially, I feel very guilty about it. It's also sorry, I got thrown off by the color changing to something I didn't want there. Um, it's also something that not a lot of people will get to um, experience in their lifetime, is getting that much time off without having to worry about that. So I am grateful. I just suffer with guilt a lot in general about things, so it's not very helpful. And of course, um, that it'll be different one day, and I won't be jobless forever. Hopefully, none of us will, unless there's a medical reason or something where you can't be, in which case there's no reason to feel guilty over that, even though I can understand that you might. I didn't plan colors beforehand, so we'll see here. I want to give her some little, yeah. Oh, that's adorable. Yes. Oh, so cute. I'll have to make sure I color drop these colors for the next one. What color eyes does she have? Shoot. Help. Hang on just a second while I shoot her a text. I'm getting spam texts. What color are your eyes? It's weird, it's like I look at people a lot, but unless their eyes really stand out, I don't necessarily notice. It also doesn't help that my husband's eyes seem to change colors. Like, I know they don't actually, like, change colors, but, just, ooh, hazel, okay, that works. But just in the way that, like, in different lights, they look so different, I haven't actually ever been able to pin down what color his eyes are. It's very mysterious. Whereas my eyes are green, but it's funny because my brother-in-law just realized that the other day. He was talking about how pretty green eyes are, and he was just like, oh, I said something similar to my husband about like, oh, don't you wish your wife had green eyes or something? And my husband and I kind of looked at him and were like, but I do. And he was like, what? So we had to show him that I actually have green eyes, which I'm pretty happy about. I mean, there's so many gorgeous eye colors, but green is one of my favorites too. But I guess I'm not the only one who spends a lot of time around someone who doesn't necessarily notice their eye color. Just kind of look at them as a whole, unless you get really up close and personal with someone for some reason you may not notice. Okay, I'm still gonna spend some time thinking about what color to make that shirt. If anybody in chat wants to suggest like what color to make this outfit or like the fur on it, feel free to comment and I will probably take your suggestion. But in the meantime, I'm gonna color this little star thing and the boat while I either wait for suggestions or come up with one myself. we had, I used to work for my university, like I mentioned in a former video, and they still have me do occasional volunteering in the form of like, I speak to new and incoming students with a group of my former, um, not classmates, co-workers, and like answer their questions about what going to university there is actually going to be like, sort of help manage their concerns and expectations and whatever. And it was really nice to see everybody again, and it made me remember how awesome my university was. Well, university was, of course, very, very stressful at times, especially since I gave myself way too many courses at once, higher than the recommended level at one point, because I wanted to graduate in 4 years, and I'd messed up my schedule in the first two and didn't take enough classes, so I was kind of left at the end like, well, if I want to graduate in 4 years, I have to take 6 classes in one semester, which I don't know what other universities are like, but I went to um, an art university, so 6 classes a day is a lot. And they were like, you sure you want to do this? This isn't recommended. And I was like, oh, well, I'm getting married this summer and leaving the country, so I'm going to have to do this. I'm not coming back to do like one class, you know. So, but other than like the usual stress of like lots of homework and not knowing what to do for projects and panicking and doing some really shitty ones and feeling awful and then doing, you know, just okay on some and essays and whatnot, the kind of usual stressful stuff. In general, my university experience was amazing. I had many, many great teachers, um, lots of wonderful classmates, amazing co-workers while I was there, and just I learned so much, both about art, but mostly here I'm talking about like I learned so much about myself and life in general. So it was a really amazing experience. And yeah, I I didn't go to university necessarily because I wanted a job in that field afterwards. In fact, I kind of don't want to work in an art field. Not to say I don't entirely. Like, I would work at a gallery or something, but I don't want to make a living off my art. You know, if I can make a little bit of money on the side doing commissions, I'm more than happy with that because I feel like if I end up doing it as a career, that puts so much pressure on my art and me to perform with my art, and it's something I do generally to help me relax and make me happy. So if it becomes something that becomes really stressful, I'll lose one of my big stress management tricks, and that would not be good. But I just went to university because I wanted to have a degree into something, and art just seemed like the thing that I could tolerate doing for that many years, the thing that I would be interested in doing for that many years. So I'm glad I did it. It was really great. And now I have a degree. So that's cool. Alright, no comments suggesting what color to make the outfit, so I guess I will just pick. Let's go with, this wasn't so pixely, I'd like to do like a cool design on it, but I think it would just end up looking like mush, unfortunately. So we won't do like any intricate pattern, but I'll give it a nice bold color. If I was to pick something else to go to university in now, I might pick genetics because it was the other thing aside from art that I was actually good at and really enjoyed. Because it's like problem solving, like Punnett squares and stuff. It was the one thing in school other than art that I like was not better at than other people, but like really kind of excelled in and felt comfortable doing. I was very fast. The teacher had to give me and one other girl extra work every time we did like genetics related stuff because I would just be done so fast. The exercise and the rest of the class wouldn't be. So she'd have to give us, me and the other girl, some like extra sheets to do that were more complicated and work on it with each other. It kind of feels like math, but without numbers, which is great because it's the same kind of like problem solving, but without the usual part, which trips me up. Like, I'm horrid at math, just so bad at it. Um, and but it's got the same level of like, here's this information, some of it's missing, what can you use that's left to figure out how to get the thing that you're looking for? Like, I always understood what the questions in math were asking. I just didn't necessarily know how to get them. Or even if I did, it's like the numbers just wouldn't cooperate and do what I wanted them to. It was the dumbest thing. I would go in for extra math help every day with this one super sweet professor that I had. And it's like he would explain it and it would make perfect sense, and then I would go home and do the homework that night and I would get like one or two problems and then nothing made sense again, and I just didn't understand that because it was like we went over it in class and it made perfect sense, but as soon as the scenario changes slightly, it's like, oh well, all of that goes out the window and nothing makes sense anymore. Oh, I think this, okay, this is supposed to be like a sash on the outfit, not like, I should have put a belt on this then. Oh well. Um, yeah, so I'd maybe go for genetics. Um, and sadly, I've forgotten quite a bit of what I learned in genetics. But now that I'm getting more into warriors groups and things that deal with actual genetics, I've been trying to like reteach myself genetics or like learn more about cat genetics, which is pretty fun. I'd like to look up horse genetics at some point too, because they're one of my favorite animals. It's like cats and like big felines, like panthers and leopards and stuff, and then wolves or canines, including like African wild dogs. And I don't know if hyenas technically fall in what family, but I also really like hyenas. And then like horses are the next favorite. They're just really amazing animals. Ooh, if I use the same brown on the fur as I did in her eyes, that might be nice. And I'm not like amazing at cat genetics. There's lots of people in my group who are much, much better at them, but it was nice to have a bit of a refresher because they're actually pretty interesting. So yeah, maybe genetics. Before I decided to go to art school, I wanted to be a criminologist, and then I changed my mind on that. And for a long time, I was thinking about being an art therapist, because I'm very empathetic, and I feel like art has a lot of ability to help people. But both the amount of schooling that would take and also just the fact that I'm maybe too empathetic for the field, I would struggle to be like impartial, I guess. I just decided against it. Okay, so I think that's coloring done. Oh, except for, well, no, let's do that last. Alright, we'll move on to shading. I was gonna try and do this in like a less, I don't want to get like crazy with the shading because this is gonna be so small that I just don't want all sorts of colors to be everywhere and stuff, or it'll start getting too complicated. So we'll just do some simple shading, hopefully, and if I don't go overboard. There was like a cute little technique I wanted to try. I'll show you when we get there. Something I've seen people do that I kind of wanted to add to the shading, and we'll see if it works out when we get there. But right now I'm just trying to put in some really basic shading. Okay. This kind of looks somewhat like my sister's, so that's good. It's always the worst when people find out you're an artist if like they ask you to draw them and you're like terrible at people. And so you're like no, I don't want to draw you because I'm always worried I'll offend people when I draw them looking so hideous because I'm not really that good at people. I'm just drawing the little icons that turned out the best, I think, from like a series of sketches. It took me to get some good ones, so it was always my fear when we did portraiture and stuff in art school. I would like warn people ahead of time, like, just so you know, I'm not good at people, so like please don't look at the hideous drawing I'm gonna do of you and think that that's what you look like, because it won't be, and I will feel really badly. So, but this turned out okay, and I did get better at humans over the course of art school a little bit, because I did like a really intense summer class on figure drawing where we had like actual nude models come in every day, which was amazing. It helped a lot with anatomy and stuff, and just like techniques for drawing things that are complicated. But I'm still not incredible at people, and I don't really have like a style for drawing people like I do with animals yet, so that's something I'd like to get one day. And something really amazing um, that my figure drawing teacher said that I've always remembered is when before we, were drawing people, we were getting the rundown on the etiquette for having real live models come in to a drawing session. And she told us that she didn't want to see, and we would be in trouble if she caught, any of us intentionally altering what the model's body looked like. So if they had like a more robust figure, intentionally trying to make them look thinner or anything like that, um, because it's insulting. Because the models typically come and look at the drawings after you're done, which I would do too, honestly. If people were drawing me, that would be cool. And some of the drawings are beautiful, so it's understandable. But she said it would be insulting because, say, someone with a more robust figure, um, you know, goes over and sees that you've purposely and intentionally thinned them out quite a bit. That indicates to them that you think there's something wrong with their figure because you tried to fix it. And that's really not cool. Which I never thought about it that way. And when she said it, it made perfect sense, and I was like, oh yeah, of course, that would be so insulting, but I just had never occurred to me that that would be how they would probably perceive that. So that was a really good life lesson, is if you're drawing someone, you might think like, hey, I'll do them a little favor by like maybe, you know, making them look taller or giving them bigger breasts or whatever. But hopefully saying that word doesn't make YouTube angry at me. But if you do that, you might actually be hurting their feelings and things, rather than, even if you were trying to do something like to help them out. So just something to consider if you're ever drawing people, because I really thought that was beautiful advice. And she was an incredible teacher. She had a really cool method for teaching you how to draw people. Okay, so now I'm gonna try that thing I said I would try, where artists take like kind of a bubble of light and like add it onto hair like that. This would probably work better if it was cleaner line arts, but oh, and I forgot to shade that part down below. That's not good. I will fix that in a minute. You probably didn't even see it, but I can see it. Yeah, okay. I don't mind that. That'll work. Yeah. My sister-in-law has really pretty red hair, as does my husband. So I want to make it look all pretty in the picture. Alright, and then just one more thing is we gotta get those big eye shines in here. My favorite part of like every drawing. Oh, oops, except for I need it above the line art. Yeah, this is like my favorite part in every drawing is, oh, it just makes things look so alive. And should I do two? Like, which one do I like better? I think I kind of like just the one. Yeah, there we go. Alright, let's zoom way out. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's really cute actually. Except for I forgot to shade one other part. Poof, let's just go down here. I think that's the right layer. Sometimes I just click layers underneath. I get myself into trouble because I'm like, any layer underneath the line art will be fine, and then things end up where I didn't want them. But, yeah. Alright, yeah, that's cute. There we go. Oh, and one more thing. So we gotta get just the whites over here. Alrighty. Zoom way out again. Oh yeah, that'll be cute. That'll be super cute. Alright, let me save this in a multitude of ways. Oh, except for I need to turn this off now, which should, if I save it the right way, make the background transparent. Save as. I'm going to save it as a SCI first in case for some reason something goes horribly, horribly wrong and I need to go back in here. Then I need to save it as a PNG and hit this button. There's a really quick tutorial for people who want to learn how to use SCI to make transparents, and I'm just going to minimize out of this really quick to make sure I did a good job. Made it transparent, and it looks like I did, so heck yeah. Alright. And then we'll move on to the next one. For the other person who's watching, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to ask. I'll answer any if you have them. As long as they're not inappropriate or anything like that, obviously. Alright, her doggy. Her precious little dog is named Naya, and I love her. And this is kinda what she looks like. Animals are much more my forte, as you'll know if you've watched my YouTube before. So, this one is probably a little better drawn than the human is. I actually, for my sister's birthday, did a painting, a pet portrait of her dog Naya. Her full name is Agent, oh my goodness, Agent, like special agent, Agent Naya Snugglesworth. So I drew, or painted, excuse me, a portrait of her dog in a suit with a briefcase with a nuke exploding behind them. And it was pretty epic, and she loves it. It's up in her room right now. I like doing pet portraits, and I hadn't painted in a long time before that. It's probably since art school. So it was a really nice chance to get back into some paint again. So I do take commissions for pet portraits. Either something like this, I would totally do these little icons. These are actually also going to be what I use for examples for like Twitch icons and stuff on my commissions page, because I didn't have any like examples for this kind of thing, and this could be like icons for websites or whatever. I can make them whatever size. But also I would take commissions for like full paintings and stuff too of people's pets. There is a spider that just descended from the ceiling onto my desk. I will very calmly deal with the situation before I lose him. And I lost him. Hold on. I don't have a fear of spiders. I actually like the little guys, but I don't particularly like them in my room. It's kind of like we have a contract. They can, you know, be in the house, and I like them. I think they're kind of cute and fun. But if they try and come in my bedroom where they can crawl on me while I sleep, that's kind of where I draw a line. This guy was very small and cute. But I did have a spider in here recently that was less small and less cute, descend from the ceiling and land on my bed where I'd been sleeping minutes before, and I did not appreciate that. But I like to save them when I can, catch them and just take them back outside, and I used to do that a lot in Canada, but now where I am we do have some spiders that if they bite you can actually do some damage to you, so I kind of have to not be as readily prepared to handle spiders, mostly so I don't get, you know, like a flesh-eating disease. I don't know, my husband tells me we have some spiders here that can dissolve your flesh, but I have yet to see one. Not that I want to be a tester for that, so I just unfortunately do what I have to do to get the spider out nowadays. It's a good thing I'm not afraid of them though, because I imagine my screaming, if I was afraid of them, would have been really horrible on the stream. I have one sister who's like horribly terrified of all bugs, and I used to be the resident bug catcher for her when we lived together and my parents, so she was saying recently that she has missed having her resident bug catcher around because now her husband have to deal with them. They're just little bugs going about their life. They're not intentionally bothering anybody. Just give me 1 second to check something. Alright. Have to double check what color her dog is. I had her dog look at me this morning and I was like, let me just examine your face because I have to draw you later and I want to try and get the colors right. It's not going to be exact because animals have like so many colors, like their undercoat and their overcoat and different splotches, and then of course if they have long hair, like their patches don't show as obviously, like where they start and end, so they can have like all sorts of twisting colors going on, so I'm just going to get the general vibe here. And then we'll go from there. I think my sister's debating having a reward on her Twitch, where if they send enough bits or whatever, I'm not entirely sure how Twitch works, but if they send enough bits or whatever, she'll show off her dog on stream because they've seen her a few times and they like her. So I just thought this would be a cute icon to have, so if they get excited about seeing her, they want to see her, they can kind of just like shoot this icon into the chat. Oh. I'm excited because my husband, since he's been working from home, just recently bought himself a wireless keyboard and like a laptop desk stand thing that like lifts up and down, so that he can hopefully have better posture while he's at work. And I don't have good posture when I work and I don't have a good setup for drawing, and so he was like, well, I'm not going to be using it for several hours, so if you want to use it, go for it. So I am using it and I love it. We're going to have to get me one. It's really great. My neck and my shoulder aren't trying to run away off my body while I'm drawing. So that's pretty amazing because normally after like 10 minutes of drawing on the computer, just because I don't have a good setup, like my neck and my shoulder are so stiff and achy. Eventually I'll have a better setup when I can. Oh. But yeah, it's pretty great. I'm glad he let me try it out because I wouldn't have even thought to ask, and it's pretty sweet. And he's also got some new wireless headphones that I want. I have some wireless headphones myself, but they're not like totally wireless like a lot of them are now today. Um, like they have a cord that connects the two ear pods, if that makes sense. And so like you can't just have one in because then like the cord kind of pulls on the other ear pod and makes it like try to fall out of your ear, which isn't very nice, and it can kind of make like your ears achy if you do that for long enough, which isn't ideal. But I'm resisting buying those things now because we're gonna have, Christmas here in several months, and I need to have some stuff that's not super, super expensive for my Christmas list. So I kind of want to put those on my list, and I don't know what else I would put on my list if I just bought those for myself. So I'm just like, no, wait till Christmas. And then if you don't get it for Christmas, use some Christmas money to get it or something. Another thing that I really want is I've heard about weighted blankets for a long time, and I've always wanted to try one. And we stayed over at a friend's house a couple weekends ago, and they let me try their weighted blanket for the night, and it was amazing. It feels like someone's hugging you, which was really nice. But what I liked about it most was just that when I sleep, I often kick my feet, and so my blankets often get kicked off or like scrunched down way to the end of the bed, which I don't hate. But when it's really cold, like it's starting to get colder now, and it will be colder in the winter. If I kick off all my blankets, I like don't have a super restful sleep because I have to keep waking up and pulling them back on. And then I'm sure it wakes up my poor husband too, because then I'm like messing around trying to yard on blankets that he's sleeping on and stuff. So the weighted blanket, because it's heavy, I can kick my feet and it just stays in place. So I was warm all night, which was amazing. So I also got that on my Christmas list, and I think if we don't get one for Christmas, we're gonna buy one for ourselves because we liked it that much. And they're a little bit expensive, but I don't think they were like horrendous. And it probably depends on like what kind you get or from where. Oh, and then the other great thing about it too was they had this like really soft cover for it, so that if it gets dirty, you can just wash the cover. And it was like this beautiful soft gray color and like a really soft fabric, which I love soft fabrics. I have like so many fuzzy blankets and things. So I was like, oh my god, we need a weighted blanket and we need it with this fuzzy fabric. So that's probably what we'll do if we don't get one for Christmas. And even if we do get one for Christmas, I will specifically request a soft fuzzy cover or else go get one. Now I'm just thinking about Christmas and Halloween. My husband and I finally booked to get our wisdom teeth taken out, which is something we've needed to do for a long time, but I'm scared. So I've been putting it off. Um, but it needs to happen, so I finally booked it. And it's right before Halloween, so no Halloween candy for us for Halloween, but we're gonna go and buy some before we get our wisdom teeth taken out and enjoy it. Which is what we were gonna do anyways, probably for Halloween, is just buy some Halloween candy ourselves and eat it. So it won't be that much different. We'll just do it a bit early is all, which is fine. It's not even the wisdom teeth themselves, like being taken out, that I'm nervous about. It's the medication beforehand that kind of chills you out because we're doing like the conscious sedation thing. So like we'll be awake the whole time, but basically we take a pill that just like chills us out so we don't really care about the whole thing and don't really feel any pain, which my sister's had done by the same place before, and she says like she has hardly any memories of any of it. So it's just, I don't like the idea of taking something that like alters my state of mind, I guess. Um, so I don't know, just makes me a little nervous, but I'll be okay. And it'll be nice to stop having my wisdom teeth trying to hurt me all the time. Alright, I think what we're gonna do is just color all this color to begin with, and then I'll just add other stuff on top. Whee! I just ate lunch before I started this video, so I don't know why I'm hungry already. Aside from the fact that if you've watched my other videos, you'll know I have digestive issues, health-wise. So sometimes, it just my stomach is like, oh, I'm hungry, when it probably isn't or probably shouldn't be. So I just have to ignore it and or have a small snack when I'm done, or have an early dinner. Been trying to decide what desserts to make before Christmas, because with having roommates and stuff, the family normally does like a bunch of baking right around Christmas, but we have a much smaller kitchen now, so I don't want like all of us to try and be in there like right around Christmas making like 100 desserts. So I figured I would make 1 or 2 for Christmas and then just make 1 or 2 before then, and I'm trying to pick which one to make. I think the one I'm gonna make before is one my mom used to make, and you take cashews, uncooked, what's the word? Uncooked chow mein noodles, and chocolate chips and butterscotch pieces, and then you melt the chocolate and butterscotch chips together, and then you mix in the noodles and cashews, and then you kind of spoon them out into little clumps, like little balls almost, on like a baking sheet with like parchment or something on it, and then you just let them cool off, and they form these little delicious, crunchy, salty, chocolatey, butterscotchy clumps, and they're delicious. So I think I might do that before, because that's not necessarily super Christmassy, and some of the other desserts that I was going to make are a little more Christmassy related. So thinking I'll do that. Plus my husband's never tried this dessert and I think he'll like it, so I kind of want to make it for him. Or with him. Man, these are really a pain to draw up close because I really like to have like smooth, flowy looking lines, and these just look so, like, my hand is so shaky, but it's really not. It's just the up close pixelated art. Alright, let's zoom out and see how that looks. Yeah, that's pretty adorable. I think I want to put slightly darker color in her for here too, and just make it really small, like this. Well, that doesn't really show up, that's not even that much darker. I will have to go even darker, like down here. See if that, yeah, it shows up. There we go. Oops. Nope, that's way too big. It also like throws me off because normally I work on so much of a bigger canvas that the brushes, um, that like the sizes I would normally pick to work with are now so wrong. Here, it's funny. Okay, let's give her eyes. She's got pretty dark eyes too, so she can just match her mom. There we go. Cute. Gotta get some little hearts in here. Let's make them all different colors. That'll be fun. It'll be cool if I get to watch my sister's streams and see people using these. That'll be pretty exciting. So hopefully they will. And hopefully my sister likes them. I mean, I did show her the sketches just so, you know, she could give me feedback and stuff. Oh, and I almost forgot I need to color her collar. She has like a sky blue. It's a little green. Like a sky blue collar. Yeah, like that. I almost forgot because the background's teal, so I was like, oh, I already colored it. But I did not. And then we'll just make this kind of like this shade. And then gonna go in with the white, my favorite part. Oh, except for that's gonna be up here. No, up here. Yeah, there we go. Oh, that's so cute. Oh, and let's do a second one for her so she can have like big goo eyes. Yes, love it. Perfect. Yes. All right. Excellent. Oops. All right. So same as last time. I'll save this one as a sci file first in case I have to go back in here because something's gone horribly wrong. Oh, I need to. Yeah. Did I do that on this one? I did not. So that's why it wasn't fully transparent. Aha. This is why we save things or keep things open and save them so many ways. Because in case we do something wrong, we can just go back in and fix it. I have a really terrible habit of being like, yeah, I did everything right, and close everything out, and then cry because I realized I messed something up and there's not an easy way to fix it now. Alright. Yeah, I think that'll be a cute one. I gotta zoom out and see. Oh yeah, that's adorable. That's really cute. Excellent. Alright, and then I'll just do one more and then that's gonna be it for today. These are actually kind of fun to do despite the horrible pixely lines. Be nice if I maybe ended up getting some commissions for this kind of thing because I don't mind this. Not that I typically mind anything I get commissioned to draw. I get excited when I get commissions, and if they happen to be a little challenging, I get kind of excited about the challenge. And if somebody ever, you know, commissioned me to draw something I genuinely felt as though I wouldn't be able to draw to, you know, a decent quality, then I would just tell them so and, you know, maybe give them a recommendation of someone who could do it better than me. It's maybe bad business, but I don't like to not deliver on things when people pay for them, so I wouldn't want to do a bad job. That or what I've done in the past too is if they ask for me to draw something that is not my expertise, I will charge less than my normal rate, so that way if it's not up to my usual quality of work, they don't have to pay as much. Anybody have any suggestions on what you might like to see for my next video, be it a stream or just a pre-recorded video? If you do, feel free to let me know. I'm happy to consider all suggestions. Even if you're watching this later and not watching it live, I will check on this later, so you can still suggest even if this has been out for a bit. I'm thinking what I might do next is digitalize some traditional warriors art that I did recently, because I think it would look cool to see the comparison between like a finished traditional piece I've done versus like that same piece done digitally. Because there's something really charming about traditional art, but there's also some things that are harder to do traditionally that I think I could do better digitally. Or maybe I'll do a completely new drawing. I could show you guys maybe how I plan out a drawing. So instead of like doing the steps I normally do where I go from like the already completely planned out sketch and just line and color it, I could do like a blank canvas to like fully sketched page, and that way you guys can see kind of my process for laying out a scene and stuff. Not that I'm an expert on it by any means. It's actually one of the things that I'm trying to get better on, is being able to do like backgrounds and things that look good, because it's one of my weak points and I'm getting better at it. But yeah, maybe that would be a fun video. Kind of the opposite of what I've done so far. I've got some new characters too. I had some of my characters recently in the role plays that I'm in die, so I've got some new ones coming up soon. So maybe I'll show them off in another video where I draw them. We'll see, there's lots of possibilities for videos. I'm just trying to shave this pupil down so it doesn't look so much longer in comparison to the one on the other side. Now the other one looks bigger. If this wasn't a tiny pixel art, I would do what I've been doing recently and just copy the eye and flip it, because it's so frustrating trying to get eyes to match. I think that's good though. Yeah, that's good. So now the question is, can I think I can drop from here. Oh yes, okay. We're in business now, because I want them to kind of match. I don't want like one of her icons that are both drawn by me of her to have like completely different hair colors or shades or whatever. So if I just drag and drop, that solves that problem. So we'll just assume she's standing in the exact same lighting for shading and everything. The weather's getting colder here now and I'm kind of loving it. I'm definitely one of those people who would rather be cold and put on layers than be too hot. And fall is my favorite season, so the leaves are all changing, the weather's changing, and I'm just loving it. Like sitting here with my window open, the breeze coming in, whereas in the summer it was like way too hot to have the window open, so it felt like so closed in all the time. And then soon I'll get out my winter clothes again, so it'll be all my big, cozy, soft, fluffy sweaters, which is the best. Even though I do love some of my summer clothes, you can't beat a fluffy sweater. Just gonna take a quick stretch break here, because I don't know how long this video has been going for so far. So I've been sitting in the same position for a while. Alright. I just noticed the bottom here and zoomed in 800%. You know, the digital art is getting serious when you've zoomed in 800% to whatever you're drawing. That's funny. Maybe it's not that funny, but I found it amusing. Maybe someone else did too. I never draw this size, so it's so funny to see how different it is when you draw this close up. Like, I always zoom in when I'm doing like details and stuff, but it just never looks so pixely. Is this how artists do pixel art? I've never actually looked into it. Is it just that you zoom in so much that it's all just pixels? Instead of like, I don't know. I think there's special programs for it now that I think about it. If anyone watches this who happens to be a pixel artist or knows how it's done, feel free to let me know. I'm curious, or maybe I'll look it up myself at some point. Sorry for all the flashing between screens, everybody. Oh, it says I've got 2 viewers again. It said I had only 1 for a little while there. Did someone leave? Or is it YouTube just lagging? If you're a new person who wasn't the other person here before, then hello. Nice to meet you if we haven't met before. And hello if we have. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the next thing I'll do for a video, whatever it is, will be a warrior cats thing of some kind, because I'm really in a warrior cats kind of mood right now. Just last week I went through and drew all of my personal characters in their own personal little image with separate backgrounds to practice some background work and shading and whatever. So I kind of got all of them out of my system for the moment, and then I was like, oh, I've made, you know, designs for all the canon warrior cats characters. Not all of them, but like a good chunk of the main ones. I was like, but I'm not doing anything with them, so I was just drawing those scenes like I was telling you about. So maybe I'll do something with the canon warrior cats characters and my like personal designs of them, just so you can see what they look like. They're also up on my warrior cats Tumblr, which is warrior stickers, I'm pretty sure. I'm just gonna do this the speedier way and kind of do the shading at the same time I'm doing the coloring, just on the coloring later, because in the end it makes no difference if it's on a separate layer. Not really for what I'm doing. And it's faster. Or at least it feels faster, because I don't have to make a new layer. I can just do it all right here. And then I'm gonna have to take these and resize them a couple times because from what I read on Twitch, you need to have different sizes for your emotes. So like these ones right now are 12 by 112 pixels by 112 pixels, and I think it said you also have to have a version that's 56 by 56 pixels, and then there was one more size because it's like for phone or like mobile for computer and for desktop, or I don't remember. There's a reason. So once these are done, I should just be able to resize them a few times. I almost forgot the freckles. And then hopefully they're just good to go. I hope my sister doesn't have any trouble with uploading these for some reason. If she does, I guess we'll have to troubleshoot it together and try and figure out what it is. I just don't like the harsh edges on those. Yeah, that's better. Make them subtle. Hopefully you can still see them when you zoom out. Slightly. Okay. That's the other thing that's weird is like because it's so pixely, it like colors along the one line of pixels and then like partially along the other, which I know it does like anyways when you're drawing, but you don't see that, so I feel like, it's not colored in all the way. Yeah, I may go through with a bigger marker thing after this just to make sure it's all good. Why did you go up there? Don't go up there. Don't do that. Alright. Now we just gotta do my favorite part. Eye circles. Alright, and zoom out to make sure everything looks good. Alright, now we take this off, and then we save it twice. And then we save it again. And voila! Alright, that's the stream for today, everybody. Thank you a bunch for tuning in. It's nice to draw and talk. And like I said, if you have any suggestions for any future videos, feel free to drop them anywhere on my page, on any of my other videos. Even if it's an older video, I'll still see the comments, and I'm still taking suggestions because I want to draw things that you guys think are cool or interesting or fun. And thanks, everybody. Hope you have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you again before too long.